Welcome to the 5G Podcast.
We're glad you're here.
We hope you enjoy our conversations about God, guns, games, goals, and gastronomy.
Now sit back, relax, and enjoy this week's episode.
Oh, I needed to... I got the huckleberry flavor.
Huckleberry Finn? What the?
It's the clear American one, though, not the ice.
Yeah, oh, okay.
Cheaper version of ice.
The cheap version. The off-brand.
Crazy, because ice is $1 for the bottle.
Mm-hmm.
This one is 62 cents.
Whoa. Is that also a Sam's Club thing?
Mm-mm.
No?
This is at Walmart.
Oh. I don't know if I've seen them at Fry's. Kroger.
It might be a
Walmart brand, yeah. Great
This one's
value.
not bad, though.
Better than the Christmas Cheer or whatever that other flavor was.
Christmas Frost.
Christmas. Weird.
Yeah. It did not taste very frosty. This one's huckleberry, though. So that'll be...
I just have Dr. Pepper Cherry Zero Sugar.
Classic. Zero sugar, huh?
Zero sugar. Yeah, I don't... There's some zero sugar sodas now where they got that fake sweet flavor down so well.
Yeah.
It just tastes really good. I don't know, a couple decades of experimenting with aspartame and other stuff, I guess.
Stevia.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Because like at the start, just aspartame, if that's your only sweetener, that's disgusting. Like,
Yeah, pretty bad.
Old diet sodas were terrible, like from our childhood. They're not bad now. They're getting pretty good.
It's really weird going from an aspartame soda or a zero sugar soda to a high fructose corn syrup soda.
Yeah.
But then what's even weirder is going from a high fructose corn syrup soda to a real cane sugar.
Real cane sugar.
Sugar soda.
Yeah.
And like the real sugar one is just so much better.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's there's not much difference between the zero sugar or the zeros and the high fructose corn syrup ones.
Yeah.
Like there is a little bit,
But it's still relatively the same
they're
sweetness.
pretty close.
Yeah.
Right. But the real sugar ones, you're like, whoa, this is ridiculous.
It's been a while since I've had a real sugar soda.
Ryan just got me a part of a root beer bottle from last night that she went out to a restaurant with her coworkers for their Christmas party or whatever.
Christmas party, yeah.
And she brought home this root beer that was really quite good. It was like a bottle of root beer, but it was made with real sugar, and you could tell.
That's impressive.
So anyway,
It's a lost art.
tis. Well, I wanted to pick your brain about a new video game that's coming out next year.
New video game.
Video games.
We talk about those.
Sometimes.
Mhm.
Like every week.
Probably. we play those.
We do. I haven't played a lot since the last time we recorded a podcast.
Yeah, no, me neither,
4
actually.
days ago, I suppose. But, where was I going to say? Oh, in the past, we have played a reasonable amount of Sea of Thieves,
Yeah.
right? And that game's pretty good.
It's a pretty fun game, yeah.
Pretty fun game, especially when you server hop around and
Yeah.
you can, get... Anyway.
I was about to say, I don't know if we've talked about it much on the podcast because we haven't played it recently, but that's a really fun co-op pirate game.
LAN party, do what you want.
There's no... the whole game is like skill-based. Like anything that you buy in-game is purely cosmetic, and so it's just everybody's on a level playing field, and you're just playing to have fun
Yeah.
and get new cosmetics to look cool.
Yeah. It really is quite entertaining.
It's fun.
So anyway, I was on TikTok, as one does,
Ah, yes.
and I came across an ad for a new video game called Skull and Bones.
That sounds pirate-themed. Segue. Or tie-in?
It looks... I'm just going to pull up a picture
Sure.
of the game. Skull and Bones game. And I want you... So it's a Ubisoft game. Ubisoft?
Ubisoft. Although...
And I want you to tell me what this looks like.
That looks like Sea of Thieves.
It looks like reskinned Sea of Thieves.
Yeah.
And
Like
like...
maybe slightly less cartoony. Slightly?
Yeah, but like... Look at this. What does that look like?
I mean, that's the pirate ship on Sea of Thieves. That's the view from on the wheel, the helm. Yeah. Okay. Skull and Bones.
So
Coming soon.
yeah, I don't remember when it's coming out. Let me. I'm sure it's just gonna show me right here.
That's very interesting.
Let's see. Available February 16th, 2024.
Oh, that's pretty soon, yeah.
Yeah. And they're selling it
$70.
$90.
Oh no. Oh man.
$90.
I'd like do the stab myself on the heart thing, but I know my mic's right here.
Now that's the pre-order, and it comes with like one like whatever
digital deluxe.
yeah, whatever
edition.
bullcrap, right? But that's literally. Let me show you. That is literally
Yikes.
the Ubisoft store.ubisoft.com.
Yeah.
Skull and Bones.
It's not even like euros. Like no, that's $90.
No,
yeah.
I had to double check because I hadn't.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they're a European company, so that's
yeah.
why.
So it's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
There's that, but
Wow.
also like everything that I've seen like a couple of the ads, and I'll watch it because I played Sea of Thieves, and I was like, oh, this like
just looks right up my alley.
You know, if they make this like a better version of Sea of Thieves, it literally looks like Sea of Thieves.
Just looks like Sea of Thieves. You're a pirate. You drive a ship.
And I don't know if there's like better co-op or something like that, or if they're larger servers or
more competitive.
I don't know what the gameplay exactly is like, but it looks very similar to Sea of Thieves. And
Sea of Thieves is on Xbox Game Pass. You can play that for $1 right now if you wanted.
With the controller, which I don't know how I would feel about that.
Yeah.
But I mean, people play other games on controller that I feel like would be difficult. So.
Right.
Whatever.
So how yeah. You know, I'll hold my criticism until I see it, I guess, but $90?
I mean, what Sea of Thieves is 40, right?
40, yeah.
Which is extremely reasonable for that game.
Yeah, and it's pretty often on sale, and they are constantly doing new updates. Like the dev team is still involved.
Constantly are doing they just not just, but like last year I think, or no, 2 years ago now. Jeez, they started doing like the seasons.
Yes,
they have like 2 or 3 seasons a year.
Yeah, and so they're doing like big new content, cosmetics. They've got extra quests, adventures to go on in game.
And there's parts that you don't have to buy where it's just like the game updates, but there are also microtransaction purchases.
There's also options,
for the cool cosmetics.
But it's all cosmetic.
It's all cosmetic. There's zero.
Tying into another topic we weren't going to talk about on a couple different things. We talk about Blizzard a lot because man.
Oh no.
Blizzard. 2 things for 2 of their big IPs. Selling new games for $90. We can talk about how, and we've mentioned this before, game studios are flirting with the idea of raising the price. AAA games have traditionally been $60. We've seen a couple people go up to $70. I believe the end goal is probably $100. You get AAA games, just $100 bill. That's the 90 is the first one I've seen, but that doesn't surprise me because Blizzard just announced their expansion for Diablo 4.
Oh,
so Diablo 4 was $70. You need the base game. They announced their new expansion is $100.
What?
Yeah.
Is it doubling the size of the game?
It must, but I don't think so. Like, they're out of their minds charging more than the base game.
That's insane. I don't understand how that's a like. I don't get it.
Yeah.
Are there microtransactions in Diablo as well?
Every Blizzard game has microtransactions now, basically.
That's insane to me that they...
One of their... This is a subtopic. One of their microtransactions for World of Warcraft, I think it was like some dinky horse, but it was kind of popular. I think it was $25 for like a cool mount in-game. That one microtransaction made Blizzard more money than all of StarCraft 2. Which is really sad to think about.
Yeah, that is pretty sad.
So, I'm not like saying microtransactions are dumb, because they do work, like, and I understand in a development process you need to like make money constantly in a company, in a game company. That helps, as opposed to like, here's Diablo 4 at $70. Obviously it's all front loaded. You got to keep making content and keep selling new stuff, but that's pretty abysmal.
That's craziness.
$100 for an expansion. The next game, Diablo 5, is just going to be $100 then, like, at least.
That's crazy to me. I wonder, because there's always like there's a curve, right?
Yeah.
On how many people are purchasing the game versus how much money you're making, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so when you sell a game for X amount, Y amount of people are going to buy it.
Correct.
Right? If you sell the game for 2X, it's going to be 1/2 Y, right? But you made the same amount of dollars.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? And usually that scale is not linear.
Mm-hmm.
It's not 2X equals 1/2 Y, and that's just the rule, right? It's usually that it fluctuates based off of the price, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if your game, and I don't know about this specifically for video games themselves.
Sure.
And obviously, it's not like a normal consumable where it's like there is a single amount of utility for it.
Yeah.
And once that utility is done, you've consumed that, right? Like you can't do it anymore.
Keep selling video game keys.
But there are games where this doesn't work because they're infinitely consumable.
Yep.
And they cost $0. But then the developers still make oodles of money on them. I'm thinking of Counter-Strike.
Yeah, Counter-Strike.
Right? Or League of Legends.
Yep.
Or Valorant. Or
lots of microtransactions.
These free-to-play games where you can literally not pay and you can play the game.
Mm-hmm.
The whole game.
Yeah, it's like the content is there. It's all free.
And then they make money on the back end on the consumable products that they provide. But then there are other games that are consumable because there is a storyline, but their utility might not just be that one playthrough. Like there's one storyline more or less. There's a beginning and an ending for Baldur's Gate 3, right?
Sure.
And there's 5, 10, 20 different endings that you could encounter, but there is an ending, right? It's not like Counter-Strike where you have a match and then another match and you're getting better and better.
You're there just to play the game.
There is a story that progresses in Baldur's Gate. Mm-hmm. But how many times did you start that game? How many times did you play that game? 30?
Oh, yeah. Like actually sitting down to play the game, how many instances?
Well, no. Not instances of playing the game, but how many times did you create a new character and start fresh?
Yeah. Probably at least 6 or 7 myself. And I still have more planned in the future. Like,
exactly, right? Yeah. So the consumability of that product is greater than 1, mm-hmm. right?
Yeah.
It's probably closer to 10 on average.
Yeah.
Right? And so that's why it's really hard to determine
the price.
What the price of a game should be based off of, because price is always a function of, there's for a lot of things that go into making a price, right?
Yeah.
Supply and demand
mm-hmm.
is one thing. But video games, there's infinite supply.
Yeah.
The demand is the driving factor, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the only thing that puts a price on video games is the video game industry itself and the consumer's willingness to buy the game. Some companies have developed a reputation for producing games that are good and warranting a certain price for those games.
Yeah,
right?
AAA studios, it's like you gotta charge $60.
Exactly.
They're big game studios.
Everyone trusts that the utility and consumability, of that game exists
mm-hmm.
prior to purchasing it.
Yeah.
Which is why most indie stores charge much less for their games because they don't have a proven track record.
Correct.
To,
there's not regulations on them as far as like releasing a decent product, like that sort of thing. Like
no.
Or the not cross-platform, but the platform availability, all that. Like,
well, unless the UK decides to try to stop your merger.
Right. Yes.
You heard that with Activision.
I did hear about
Blizzard, that. Activision, Blizzard, and Microsoft.
Right? Yeah, they were trying to stop that.
Sony was like, "Hey, we like Call of Duty is one of the biggest games on our platform, even though it's a Microsoft or it's an
mm-hmm.
Activision game.
Yeah,
like we'd still like to be able to do that." And Microsoft was like, maybe
yeah,
not.
I think the final deal was like, we'll give you 5 years.
I think 10. I think
10 years.
Yeah, 10. And then
they were like, okay, it's better than nothing. The second point I wanted to make, kind of along that, as far as making the cosmetics and microtransactions and not that whole thing currently. Also, Blizzard for their World of Warcraft retail, they call it, right? Just current World of Warcraft, which
It's trash.
we don't go there anymore.
Sure. We don't talk about that.
I went there once upon a time, but that's the one with all the microtransactions, and they're selling currently the max level is 70 in game, and they've announced the next expansion, but they're still in their last phase of this current expansion, I believe, maybe second to last. You can buy, and they've done this traditionally, where you can buy a character boost, they call it, for like $25 or whatever, and it boosts your character up to the level before the current expansion. So you get one character ready for the expansion, and then the new expansion releases, and then you can play through the new content.
Sure.
They've done that traditionally as like a little catch-up mechanic. Sometimes if you buy like the deluxe edition of the expansion, you just get a character boost thrown in, fine, whatever. That way you're on level playing ground with everybody else starting day one. Now, for the grand price of, I want to say $60, you can buy a level 70 character boost up to the maximum level in the game, complete with all of the gear you need to compete in the end game stuff. It's just, you don't want to play the game, but you want to play the game. Here, spend $60 and the game is played for you. Like everything is maxed out. Everything you can think of on a character, you buy it. You can just buy it. And you're ready to go. You're ready to play. Like you're pretty decent. You could only get better equipment from the final raid, from like the final bosses.
What the heck?
Yeah, it's pretty
What's
crazy.
What's the point of that?
I don't know, but I'm sure there's people who would buy it. I'm sure there's tons of people who'd be like, "Oh yeah."
Well, and it doesn't cost them anything to program that in.
No.
I'll bet you
It's free money.
I'll bet you it took the development team 45 minutes to figure that out.
Probably took more time to like land it on their store.
Probably.
Yeah.
Probably.
to
they had to
do
get their
the
marketing
integration.
team to be like, how do we even do what?
Yeah, they buy a digital code and then it just activates. Yeah, no. So it's
That's insane.
Yep. Talk about pay to win. You can just pay $60 and you're already winning. Like you're at least competing, but probably better than most people who have been trying to like play from the ground up.
So that's annoying though, because like on release day, there are going to be people who are level 70. Or sorry, what's the current level cap?
70. Yep.
Okay, and then they are announcing a higher level cap
in the next expansion.
Yeah. Right?
So currently it's 70. And they've had character boosts at 60, I want to say. 60
And
to
so
70.
are they going to be able, are they saying that like on this next expansion, when it turns level 90, you can just pay $60 and go from level 0 to 90?
I guess so. Or maybe they'll wait a little bit to like let
That seems
people
so ridiculous
go the slow way.
Well, no, that seems ridiculous because like, I mean, they would have to have it be a timed release, like a delayed release. Because can you imagine day one, like at just midnight,
boom, a max level
90.
Yeah, it's like I didn't put in any work, but I paid money. So
well, and then what? Like, there's
best.
PvP in that game, right?
Yeah, you can just go kill other players. Yep.
So it's like, okay, and then what? Like,
and they'll have no chance. Yep. It's wild to me. Like for folks who don't know, in an MMORPG, this game is so built around your character and like everything that you build up, all the gear that you acquire, the skills that you unlock, everything is just like an amalgamation. People pour hours into a single character, and it's the grind. You're slowly getting better, and it's supposed to mean something in a role-playing game. But now you can just buy it, so you get everything. You get all the skills, everything you could want.
That's very strange.
Yeah. I like the Sea of Thieves style of microtransactions.
Yeah. I have no problem with microtransactions. Just because, like, if I'm allowed to play the game and not spend money on it, or, if I buy the game and then there's, like, cool cosmetics or whatever, like, that's fine.
If I like the game, I don't know if I've ever bought a pure cosmetic thing, but I have bought microtransaction. I've bought DLCs before on games I like.
Sure.
Especially if it's like a little bit extra content, like, oh, you get this cool gun or whatever.
Yeah.
Sure. I like the game.
and like support the developers of a good game, all that good stuff. And like I really like the Counter-Strike model as well.
Oh yeah,
where it's a third-party market.
It's all yeah.
And they just take a very tiny cut off
little
the top.
slice.
It's a great way to do it, to be honest.
Well, I like we've talked about previously the Remnant 2 formula. They released their first DLC, and it's like, it reminds me of what Payday 2 did. In that only one of your friends needs the DLC, and all of you can go join him. All of you can go experience the new stuff.
Yeah. And so then it's like, okay, well, like all of our friend group wanted to play the DLC, but we're like, it's a $50 DLC. That's kind of expensive. But if there's 4 of us, each of us pitch in $12.50.
Yeah.
There you go. You go run the thing together and.
Yeah. Payday did that a bunch. Payday 2. I got to say that now because there's 3 of them. And we don't talk about the third one. Payday 2 would release like a new map, and usually had it like 3 to 4 new guns, maybe a new melee weapon for like $7. And then usually after about 6 months, it dropped to $5. And so for $7, you'd get a new map, which had like new strategy and stuff, but only one of your friends had to have that. And so either the one friend that really liked the map or really liked the guns would get it. And then you could all just play with him on the new map.
Yeah, that's a great way to do it.
A very good formula, yeah.
So sad what that stupid company has done.
Yeah,
we've talked about that ad nauseum at this point.
I think so. Yeah, it's
they still need to hire us to come out anyway.
We're still waiting on the phone call. It'll come.
Maybe eventually.
It's a holiday break.
True. It is not.
So that's Skull and Bones.
Yeah, that was like way tangential.
Yeah.
To
talking about video games. Should we talk about our next big topic? We'd like to cover Reacher.
Sure.
Yeah, Reacher came out.
This is when you had, so I'll let you lead out.
Sure. We've hyped it for a couple weeks of like, we saw season 2 was coming out, pretty excited for it. I went and rewatched all of season 1.
Oh, very nice.
This is a great show, great protagonist, and for folks looking for the same thing in season 2, it's there. Like I still really like the protagonist.
Yeah.
I believe it's a different book. I don't know if it's like book 2 in the series, but
I don't know.
Same character, same world, and the first 3 episodes just dropped yesterday.
Oh, I hate that they do that so much.
I know. I didn't know if you saw that. I figured that was going to be a slight negative for them.
Any show that does that immediately goes from like, even if it's the best show ever made, immediately drops 2.5 points on my scale.
On my scale of 10. On your 10-point scale.
25% of their value of the show obliterated when they do this. I hate it.
And they didn't announce it beforehand. Some people, they'll either say, season 2 releasing on this date, or it'll be like new episodes weekly. They didn't say anything, so I was kind of fingers crossed, and we just got the first 3 episodes.
What do you like?
I don't know.
It doesn't change anything.
We'll have to wait and see this Friday. Are they going to do like the next 3 episodes? And then the Friday after that, the last 2? I don't.
Okay, I wouldn't hate that as much.
Because again, they didn't say this is the first half of season 2.
That's my big one.
That I don't
That one is my big one, where it's the first half of a season.
Yeah.
And then they release the second half of the season 4 months later. I will refuse to watch those.
Yep. Nope.
My question is, and I thought about this earlier this week as well. I suppose we've talked about this a little bit ad nauseum as well. What's the benefit of doing it for them?
I don't know. If there's some practical thing, again, like they're finishing up in post-production, we got to fix audio or whatever. I don't know.
Maybe. I don't know.
But regardless, it'll probably be a pretty good season. I've been enjoying it so far.
I watched the first episode.
Yep.
And one thing that annoys me is that it's on Amazon, and so you can't fast forward by any amount.
Can't speed up at all, yeah.
But to be fair, on this one I didn't need.
You don't need it.
Didn't need it.
At least not yet.
Didn't need it. On a Wheel of Time, I needed it.
Oh,
desperately.
Jeez, yeah, I can't.
I haven't watched any more of that show.
No, yeah, me neither.
I might go back and hate watch it.
It's crossing my mind a little bit.
I just don't watch shows that much right now.
But
but I for you I watched Reacher.
Thank you for the content.
Yeah.
You probably won't need it on Reacher because there's always good fight scenes.
Yeah.
They're doing in season 2. They're doing a little bit more backstory. I mean, season 1 did some backstory as well to him, in particular. This one they're doing backstory into like his troop, his squad from the army, because that's
special investigators,
secret police.
Oof, rough.
Ooh, yeah. Special investigators does sound better.
Yeah.
I see why they picked that name. Anyway, he's a military police, and one in the current time, like one of his buddies died, so it makes sense that they're doing the backstory of like when they were formed. But it's just still got some good fight scenes and still got some good characters.
Yeah, I will say the people who are doing the gunplay for the actors, the Reacher's character was holding the gun correctly.
Yeah.
Like perfectly.
Mm-hmm.
Not perfectly, but really, really well for a movie.
Pretty good.
Especially compared to like this the first season of Book of Boba.
Oh, okay.
And Power Rangers.
I did not see that.
The Power Rangers
did not know how to hold guns.
Oh my gosh!
Yikes.
Have you ever seen a 4-year-old hold like a toy gun?
Yeah.
And how like if they don't know, like there's like a stock to like put it underneath their shoulder.
Mm-hmm.
20-whatever-year-old actor doing the same thing.
Yeah, because they've never even held a real gun.
They've never even seen
a toy gun. Even it's a prop. Like, yeah.
I hated that show.
So Reacher,
and that's something that I pick out on like every single show.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Because it like bothers me.
I count bullets too as well.
Because
that one has bothered me too much.
Bullets.
I'm like, oh, and he's
I don't
maybe
like,
he has the extended mag. Oh no, he's still firing. Okay.
If it's like within reason, I'm like, okay.
Yeah. Oh, maybe he reloaded off screen. Whatever.
Or whatever. But like.
But sometimes it's just a little like with the pistol, and they're just.
And he's like, okay, there's 18. Okay, 20.
That's
22.
That's exactly what I do.
27, 50.
And again, you just see them firing the whole time, just back and forth. Yeah, no. Or when they're like pulling off sniper shots or whatever. I'm like, all right, this is unrealistic.
Yeah, they take out a gun, put it together, put the scope onto the barrel or onto the gun. And then don't do any adjustments. Don't range the target. Don't do any of that. And you're like, and the target's moving at, a walking or whatever. And you're like,
a mile away.
You're just going to do that?
So, oh, well, okay. This is the best marksman ever, apparently.
God, Jesus bullets, because it just performed a miracle.
I thought you were going to mention about you said gunplay, but at first the guns, because in this episode he goes to get a gun because he knows that like things are going to get a little dicey. And he ends up just like roughing up a local drug dealer. Totally random, unrelated to the plot of just like the author is like, okay, Reacher needs a gun. So he goes and he just like talks to a Catholic priest to try to find out where the local drug dealer is. He makes up some story, goes to the drug dealer, just beats him up, like chucks his drugs in the sewers and takes his gun and the money. Gives the money back to the Catholic priest. And then you're like, all right, yeah, and there we go. Now my main character has a gun. It was so unrelated.
Like, it's so much better than just like, and now my character has a gun.
He has a gun, or he went and bought a gun. Like, no, it's character building.
Yeah.
And it was done so well in a brief, like 3 to 4 minute. You get a couple like funny one-liners, you get a little mini action scene. It was great.
And it just like demonstrates how much of a bad A he is.
Yeah.
Because he just like goes and beats the snot out of these guys in 2.5 seconds and then grabs everything he wants from them and drives away.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay.
And you get the one-liner where the priest is like, oh, be careful, son, or whatever. And he's like, oh, don't worry. I got righteousness on my side.
Yeah. Yeah.
He drives up and he just opens the car door to hit the one guy. And the one part I thought was unrealistic is that drug dealer had a very nice sidearm. I don't know if you
1911.
He had a 1911.
Yeah, he did have a 1911.
Like, it's a nice gun for a random drug dealer in New York, but...
Yeah, for real. Like, you would expect like a Glock.
Yeah, something a little simpler, but less flashy than a big old 1911. But
yeah, that's a very fair point. But hey, I'm not like mad about it.
no, because the whole scene was done well. And again, the scene at the beginning that I saw a few times on the trailer, just character building, unrelated to the story, somewhat, because it's how he gets in touch with his other old friend, but just like the lady at the ATM who's been carjacked.
Yeah,
And he just like doesn't need to get involved at all, really.
No.
But he just like he asks the lady, he's like, oh, like you've been carjacked, and she's like, yeah, and my son's in the back seat, and he's like, wait here. He goes and just beats the guy up, just knocks him out, and then tells the lady like, hey, call the cops. Like, who are you? He's like, someone who doesn't like getting involved.
yeah.
He just walks away. Didn't need to do that at all. Not relevant to the plot, but it was short enough. And it added so much to the story.
It did. It really did.
You can fall off the deep end where you just go on these crazy red herrings
Mm-hmm.
that add nothing to the story, and it's just long and boring and pointless. I'm looking at like Last Jedi, for instance. That movie had like an hour-long subplot
That was just so.
that added nothing. That's a bad example, but you can do it in short little bursts, and it's done really well.
Yeah. No, so far, for first episode review, unbiased because of the stupid release at whatever.
3 episodes. You say you're not watching a whole lot right now. Maybe you can space them out.
I probably will. But
And I'm hopeful they release more this coming Friday.
yeah. But like so far, like solid show. 8 out of 10 so far.
Yeah.
You know, we'll see how it develops.
See how it goes.
The first episode of every show is always like a higher ranking or higher rating because you're always like hopeful of what they turn it into.
Yeah.
Right? So,
Yeah.
like House of the Dragon, for example, I was super hyped for
Super
that.
hyped, yeah.
And I didn't finish
No.
it.
Cool thing to point out about this, I know Amazon's doing a ton of marketing and whatnot. And because it's a totally different story from season 1, people could just pick up and start watching season 2.
Yeah,
Really?
you really could.
Yeah.
You really could because you learn about him and like what he is.
Pretty quick.
Like
I think they did that
you
pretty
establish that he is a vagabond of some sort.
well. Yeah. You know, he's a bad A because he just...
Yep, you know he's bad A. You know he was in the military.
Mhm.
And you know what his unit was. All in the first episode.
Yeah.
Like you learn so much in the first episode about the main character that you're like, I don't need any more. Like,
Yeah.
I know who this guy is now.
Yeah, and I think they've referenced season 1 a couple times, but nothing like relevant or not even spoilers to season 1.
No, I think they say like, how was this place or whatever.
Yeah, and he's like, oh, it's been 2 years since then. You're like, oh, okay, cool.
Yeah. Which I think is actually how long it's been since that first season released.
Probably, yeah, 2021.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's pretty close.
So it's good enough. Obviously, season 1 was great. I think we both have our seal of approval on that. But
Yes.
it's cool that anybody can just pick up and watch season 2. I don't know of many shows that do that well. So,
I'm interested to see if they bring in any of the season 1 actors
oh yeah.
or actresses into season 2.
I heard a rumor that because there's the blonde police chick
Mhm.
and then the black chief detective guy. I heard rumors that they're not on season 2.
Okay.
But could be. I don't know. Someone else random, perhaps.
Those were like the only characters in that show.
Really, yeah. It was kind of the trio and then all the villains.
Yeah.
So,
But I'm guessing that they've replaced the trio in the first season with the new trio. in
yeah,
the
I
second
think
season.
so. His new trio.
Yeah. So
He's got his old Irish buddy, which I thought was funny.
Yeah.
You're still fighting with brass knuckles? Like, that is
funny.
that is so Irish.
And a switchblade.
Yeah, brass knuckles and a switchblade. And they make fun of him because he's like a family man now.
Yeah. Yeah. Domesticated is what they call him.
Domesticated,
Yeah.
He's like, oh yeah, I think I'm still in touch with this other old buddy from our unit. Yeah, he's on our holiday mailer list.
Yeah.
And they both got him like, what?
What? Yeah, that was very funny. Yeah, no, so far so good on that one.
I'm liking it.
I'll watch it. I will watch it. I'll probably continue to hate watch
Wheel of Time.
Wheel of Time.
Ooh, it's so weird that we very much like one show on Amazon and then just hate this other one.
And it's not even like it's the like type of show that it is,
No.
because I love fantasy, magic-y,
we
whatever
both love
shows,
fantasy.
right?
Yeah.
So it's just so disappointing that the writing for Wheel of Time is just so trash.
Yeah.
The acting is also kind of crappy too.
What did you call the main actor? He's just a plank. He's just a walking plank. A 2x4.
No, he's freaking Plank from Ed, Ed, and Ed.
Oh, he's literally Plank.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
I couldn't remember.
He acts as like he's a 2x4. That's what I think it was that last episode or 2 episodes ago.
Yeah,
two
must be 2 episodes.
Where I literally think if they replaced him with a 2x4 with a mop attachment for hair,
it'd be more interesting.
and like voiced him, exact same thing.
Yeah.
Couldn't spot the difference.
Could not.
So, but luckily there hasn't been too much of him.
Yeah.
And I like the White Tower stuff
Yeah,
going on so far. Like,
there's a little bit too much talking sometimes, but
for sure. Skip ahead.
Speed it up.
Yeah. They're trying to do that thing. I don't know if you've ever heard of this, where there's like a test that feminists will do for shows, and it's the time,
the screen time of
the screen time, or like the I'm butchering this, and any feminist is going to get on me for this one, but like it's like screen time for female actors when they're not talking about a male character.
Oh, okay.
And that they're doing something other than talking about a male character or to a male character.
Sure.
And
that's all that story arc is, really.
Yeah.
So,
but let me tell you, every movie that I've ever seen that has like a plot point to make that a thing kind of sucks.
For movies, it's even like if you look at they don't hide it, it's in the Oscar like qualification requirements. You got to have like so much screen time with women and different races and everything, and it's all in the like you won't even consider it for an Oscar unless you have this percentage of like that, like all women talking about men, that sort of thing. So it's just weird. It's just like you're trying to check off boxes instead of just like, here's my box, write a good story.
Yeah.
But
it's like in Lord of the Rings, have you seen that TikTok video or the funny like YouTube short where it's like the entire Lord of the Rings, if it was just when female casts interacted with one another.
Yeah.
And it's literally like 2 seconds.
Yeah.
And it's like Galadriel talking to Eowyn or something like that. I don't remember if that's
Arwen.
Who's Eowyn?
She's the blonde from Rohan. Oh no, he's good. Yes, all right.
Trevor now has a lap dog.
This is the special dog-themed episode.
We have our second guest, Spartacus.
Welcome.
Unite.
Oh, he's All right. Here we go. He'll settle down, maybe.
Hopefully. Maybe not.
The 5th G stands for
Great Danes.
There you go. Wait, German Shepherds? No.
Anyway, let's see. Do we need to talk about Reacher anymore? I think that kind of
that covers it. That was pretty good. Oh jeez. Oh yes.
Oh my, the Betty Rubs have come out. What?
That's just funny. When dogs hijacking our podcast.
That's okay. I wanted to ask you about this. I don't know. I just learned about this.
Okay.
The other 2 days ago. Yesterday. Yesterday at work. Destroy all humanity.
Yeah.
Do you know about this?
Oh, what? What are we talking about?
I was actually talking with Ryan about that today.
Yeah.
I was like, we were at Walmart and people are just stupid.
It's Walmart. That's
Well, and there's like a lot of people there, and like, if I had $1 for every time someone just stopped in the middle of an aisle.
Yeah, right.
Not like they're like, oh, I need to like,
let me pull off to the side,
and like, oh, sorry, like literally just like we're walking 4 abreast in this aisle or 3 wide in this aisle because 2 people have stopped, and they literally just stop in the middle. Yeah. There's 1 foot on this side and 1.5 feet on the other side, and they're just sitting there. And it's like
they're looking at their shopping list or looking up at the shelves.
And it's like, and I'm like, just like,
or they're talking on the phone. That's another one.
Oh my gosh, that one is the worst. And I will just sit there and I'll just be like, I feel like Russia needs to nuke this place.
Are we in a proxy war with Russia? Can they just
Can I just push the red button? Push the button!
I'll give you coordinates.
Push the button, Kronk! Wrong lever!
Yeah.
But like sometimes I'm just like, oh my gosh, if there was like 1/5 the population, I'd be so much happier.
Stop overcrowding my Walmarts.
Just stop being stupid.
Mm-hmm. It's common courtesy.
Be considerate, exactly. Like, and obviously, like there are situations where there's many people inside of a Walmart. It can't be perfect, right?
Unavoidable sometimes, yeah.
But like 90% of the instances I was in today were completely avoidable.
Just dumb.
Like obviously, like there's obviously at that point where like there's like an intersection. And like you both come to the intersection at the same time. You're like, sorry, which one? Like,
my bad.
And whatever, that's fine. No problem. I have no problem with that.
That's just a normal human interaction, like whatever.
But when someone is in the vegetable aisle and they just like park their cart,
turn it sideways.
they're like Tokyo drifting their cart and parking it there, and it's like, how? And also why?
Mm-hmm.
And also move
in that order.
Just like you don't need that many leaks. Just freaking.
Which one do I get though?
And then there are some people that just literally just like they'll like look at a freaking apple.
Yeah.
And they'll like grab one apple. And then they'll look at the apples again. And grab a second apple.
Grab one more apple.
But then they just stand there and they like are like looking at this. It's like, okay, do you not know how many apples you need?
This is wow, yeah. You dredged up a lot of like unpleasant.
I really don't like shopping.
Yeah.
Amazon is like a godsend for me because I really hate going to the store.
Order basically everything on Amazon. Don't have to interact with people.
I really hate going to the store. Yeah. If I was a billionaire, I would literally pay a Walmart employee to shut the store down for 15 minutes and kick everyone out and then open up for 10 minutes so I could do all my shopping by myself.
You did preface by saying if you were a billionaire, so that's
Although to be fair, if I were a billionaire, I probably wouldn't do my own shopping.
I was about to say, I think they already have that. You could just get people to shop for you.
Well, you're not wrong, but I didn't think about that statement all the way through prior to me saying it. Right?
That's like the.
If I had the disposable income but didn't want to be a pretentious SOB, I would do. Although it's probably a little bit more pretentious to like close the store down and then open it up.
That's what I'm saying. You have here's the problem and here's the solution, and
I'm just creating a third.
You just go around it, like instead of the straight path to the solution.
Hey, sometimes I like to curve a little bit.
You just got to think outside the box. Yeah.
Anyway, that dredged up a lot of
just Walmart
Stephen ranting
hatred.
What were we talking about? Oh, killing everyone.
Destroy all
humanity.
Trademark is the.
It is trademark.
The name.
I didn't know that Magic the Gathering. Here's our weekly Magic plug, I suppose.
Yes.
Even though we don't like Wizards of the Coast.
Although if they sponsored us,
that
can change overnight.
100% be a sim for Wizards of the Coast if they decided to sponsor us.
Yeah. Just
all. Free product.
Oh yeah, that in of itself, yeah.
Dude, I would want. Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah. Anyway. Very shameless.
Destroy all humanity plus another secondary part of that title. I don't remember what it is.
Oh, okay.
Is the Magic the Gathering manga?
Okay.
And I didn't know that this existed, and I wanted to get your opinion about this.
Is it only in Japanese?
I don't know.
Okay, because I just saw one thing this week about I didn't know this was the title, some Japanese manga about Magic the Gathering, and they were releasing like a promo card with a new book that was coming out. So did we see the same thing?
Every single book has a special card on it.
Has a promo card
or whatever.
Okay, so then maybe this is the same thing we're thinking of, because I thought it was only in Japanese. And that's why people were
what I read didn't say it was only that, but all the cards that they showed were in only Japanese.
Oh, okay.
So that would make sense to me.
Yeah. That's very interesting, though, that Wizards of the Coast let somebody else, and even like a manga artist, write a story for Magic the Gathering.
And I wish they would bring it here because,
Yeah.
first of all, can we just, like, if we're going to reprint the mangas in English, can we reprint it like a regular book? That's a question I have. Just got to throw a mirror on it.
Yes and no.
Just mirror it, then mirror it again.
Yeah, you'd have to like reformat the thing because some of it is formatted to
I mean,
read.
you're already translating it. Let's just that's like this might just be a Stevens being a stupid person.
Is it easier to tell people
Hey,
read right to
I don't
left?
need you on my lap.
Oh no. You just over here. Is it easier to tell people, hey, just read right to left, than it is to pay people to reformat your whole book?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I've tried reading mangas, but don't you have to read like up, down to top as well or something?
It's still top to bottom, but it's right to left.
Oh.
So.
But then the pages flip the other way, right? You have to start at the back of the book.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that way.
I tried reading. Shoot, what was it called? I could not figure it out. My brain just did not understand what was going on.
I can give you a Death Note.
Ooh.
I have the whole Death Note tome. It's all like 20 books in one or something.
Interesting.
But,
no, I've tried reading.
Yeah.
And this was a long time ago, and I just said, I don't need that.
Well, you're an adult now. I think you can handle it.
Maybe. But I'm also stubborn.
No, yeah, and you're not wrong, obviously. You're used to reading left to right. That's totally understandable.
Yeah. But also, this is me being stubborn and just wanting it my way, and also understanding that the world doesn't revolve around me.
Yeah.
You know, thousands upon millions upon tens of millions of people in the United States know how to read the opposite direction, and I just don't want to spend the time to do that.
Yeah.
Steven's hot take of the night.
Yeah.
I don't want to learn how to read again.
Your point, though, reading a Magic the Gathering story in like a comic book form would be pretty cool.
That's kind of where I was getting at.
Yeah.
Like, I think it'd be super cool. You know, just make those cards in English. I think they're just special editions of normal commons.
Yeah. It's nothing too crazy anyway, but.
So, I mean, it'd be just cool to do. And, you know, I would read it. You know?
Yeah, Magic the Gathering has some sweet story. Like, the overarching world building and the lore is really cool. I don't know, it's kind of like every fantasy author's dream of like multiple fantasy worlds that you can just travel between.
Yeah.
Only certain people can travel between.
Planeswalkers.
Yeah, but most normal people just have to like live on their crappy world, and a lot of them are pretty crappy. But over here we have gothic horror, and over here we have
Kamigawa.
Yeah, we have like demons. It's just all sorts of. Oh, and then here,
Phyrexia.
Yeah, Phyrexia. We
doesn't
just
sound
have
like a great place to go.
Weird interdimensional beings. Those are slivers. They're in between the planes, and they just like to eat other planes. That's fun. And the planeswalkers are like, see ya, we're out of here.
Yeah, for real.
This place sucks.
Yeah, it'd be cool. I would like to read it. I wish they would put it in English. I
know there's a couple books. I haven't heard about any that are like really stand out. Like, oh, you got to read this book. Not a whole lot though. I feel like they could do better at branching out, like the Warhammer universe does.
Yeah,
Warhammer has tons of books. I mean, you gotta narrow it down of like, okay, what author do you like, or what character in the story, or what faction in the story, and you've probably got a dozen books.
Yeah,
for each of those. I mean, I
think Caleb was listening to an Inquisitor set of books, and it was like 13 books long or something like that.
Yeah.
It's about an Inquisitor.
There's one of the main characters from my faction that I like. He's got like a trilogy that everyone, all the fans of my faction are like, you got to read this book to understand this trilogy to understand his character.
I wonder if there's any deathcore.
There's got to be. I'm sure.
I mean,
Warhammer does so good at building the whole world.
Yeah.
Magic could certainly learn from that.
Yeah. Also, Games Workshop, which is the purveyors of Warhammer, won a little bit more in my book.
They're scooping up the W's, man.
They are. I just read an article, and I wasn't going to bring this up, but since we're talking about them, just read an article that their Christmas bonus to all of their employees. Oh. Did you hear this?
I think I saw the headline, actually.
Yeah. So I read the article, and it's like the headline does, like, it's not clickbait.
Oh, okay. It's legit.
Yeah. was like every single employee got like, I think it was like $3,500
Dang.
as a Christmas bonus.
Good on them.
Maybe I think it was $3,500.
A significant amount.
Like more than like $100.
Yeah. More than average.
Which is
for
what
sure.
my work did.
Cut that out. Cut that out.
Actually, it wasn't even technically a Christmas bonus. It was
just
here's $100 and go buy a gift for another person
for the
office.
coworker
Yeah.
gift exchange. Yeah.
So
Yeah, I don't know what my employer is doing yet.
if they are,
Yeah, so far for Christmas, I think I'm the only one working. Because
that's your gift, Trevor.
Yes.
You get the gift of hard work.
You don't have a PTO.
Do you work on Christmas?
No, not on Christmas. Just
Yeah.
because it's an Intel holiday. So it's like my employers could technically be like, you need to show up, but nobody is going to show up. So except for the 24-hour, 7 people. Intel does do for those folks who have to be there 24-hour. They do like a nice little dinner. I've heard like they do a Christmas and a New Year's dinner, and you can bring your families too.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah. So, but since I'm just an 8-hour shift guy, then I don't know if there's going to be anything for me.
Sure.
So that's impressive because Games Workshop is not a huge company, but they're pretty big.
Yeah, and I feel like I feel like they have, and I don't know I have never looked at any of their financial stuff for like,
No, yeah.
you know, but based off of what they do and what they sell, like their profit margins have to be enormous.
I would imagine, yeah.
Like
I know
they're
they
selling little
outsource.
pieces of plastic for $50.
They outsource some of the people designing the crafts to like another company or two they have, or they're like partner companies.
Yeah, but they're just paying them for their talent, right?
Yeah.
Like that's. I mean,
They're just paying them to like physically pour plastic.
yeah,
That's it. Yeah.
I'm 100% okay with that.
Yeah.
And I just feel like their their profit margins allow them to be benevolent with their Christmas bonuses.
And that's cool, and that's something you normally only see in like small businesses that are pretty well off.
Yeah. For
All
real.
right, I am not trying to pet you. I'm trying to look at the agenda on my phone, dog. Jeez. Let's cut this out. I'm being overly aggressive with my dog. Actually, it's not that bad. All right. You done? You shake? No. Okay. All right. Okay. It is almost time for him to eat, but it's also too early for him to eat. So it's just
gotcha.
a spaz, and this is better than trying to tell him to go lay down.
Fair enough. Speaking of Games Workshop and plastic pieces of
That's right.
stuff, that was a great segue.
That was solid.
Yeah, 10 out of 10 on that one.
We're so natural in conversation.
Oh, yeah.
We just
3D print, go, you read
yes. Ooh, it's not actually. Actually, it's not plastic. You see, it's resin.
On UV light activated resin.
Yes, and it's really cool. You want to hear about my 3D printer?
Yes.
No. So yeah, I got a resin.
Technically, it's a polymer. It's a polymer.
It is a
isn't
polymer. Yeah, it's just polymer is kind of an all-encapsulating term, but yeah, it's SLA.
So it doesn't technically count as a plastic.
I think polymer counts as a plastic. It's just polymer is just a chain of monomers.
I hated that. I hated that.
That's the definition if you Google it. The chemical definition.
Yeah.
I don't know, because there's filament printers, which is either
An extruder.
PLA or ABS extruder. I think those are the only two materials they do, and then
No, there's a bunch more. I'm pretty sure.
oh, okay, those are at least the two most common.
Yeah. PLA, I think, is the most common.
PLA.
But I think you can do
ABS has some slightly different applications, just in terms.
TPU.
Oh, I have heard of that one, yeah. But resin is a liquid, so the method is totally different, but you get really good quality stuff. It's kind of fun. I just got it a couple weeks ago, and I wanted to talk about it because, man, does that one have a learning curve.
I did know this.
I thought I understood a filament 3D printer, and I just didn't like my old one. Like, I was holding it together with like duct tape and a prayer, man. It was like every time it printed, I was just like literally just like watching the first few layers. I was like, I hope this works. And then you come back a few hours and you're like, oh, it didn't work. And that's like I try to bang it with a wrench and duct tape it some more. And it's like, all right, let's try it again. So I decided it was time to upgrade anyway. I went with resin this time. I was like, it'll be a slightly different hobby, but still kind of making what I want for mainly Warhammer or D&D. That's what I use it for most. FDM printers are great at making like hard pieces if you want tools and random bits of hardware. Super good for that. And they're okay at minis, but resin gives you the best quality. But you're working with a toxic chemical, so you're wearing like gloves and you should wear goggles the whole time. You need to vent it anytime the liquid resin's out of the bottle. And the science is totally different because it's like upside down and you're pulling it out of the vat of liquid. And so trying to work with the prints that you want to make, everything's upside down. So it's just weird to think of like, how do I can't think of how is this going to print. It was weird to like flip my head upside down. So I had a couple failed prints because of that. Or I had like if you the very first time when I thought it was broken or something, I was trying to print and I was like, man, it's just not sticking to the plate that it pulls up out of the liquid. Well, it's because I had already done like a test print, I think without the plate attached, or it wasn't all the way down. And so I had hard resin. I had not cured, but already solidified resin at the bottom of my vat. And so my plate couldn't even get down to the bottom for the new stuff to stick on. So I kept just turning on the light at the bottom. That's all it was doing.
And then creating a bigger and bigger blob.
A bigger blob of solid liquid.
Nice.
Yeah, basically. It was frustrating to me. I'm like, but that's so dumb. So it's like anytime you screw up, you have to get rid of the solid on the bottom first. So you got to dump the liquid back in the bottle and clean up the solid and then pour the liquid back in. And so it's a little bit more finagling. The post-processing after your print's done is a little bit more because you still have toxic chemicals. So you got to rinse it with alcohol and then you got to cure it in a UV light, and then you got to snip off all the little supports because you print it upside down, so you need supports. It's a lot more, but it's pretty cool. It's pretty fun. I've been enjoying it, so I just wanted to share my adventures of 3D printing.
One thing that's kind of interesting about resin 3D printing is that something 1 inch tall and 1,000 things 1 inch tall take the exact same amount of time to print. And when I learned that, my mind was blown.
Yeah,
I was
same
like,
thing.
what? That doesn't make sense.
Turns my head upside down from working on a
FDM printer.
Traditional 3D printer.
Lie down.
This way, come on.
Wow, he's way lighter than I thought. That push was meant to just put him away from me a little bit, not like throw him across the couch.
No, you're fine. Yeah, that's actually the test I'm running right now. A couple of things I printed, I've just printed like big things anyway. But I'm trying to wrap my head around that of like, I need to fill the plate when I'm prepping this on the software. I'm like, I can fill this whole thing because it's just going to print every layer at the same time. And so the one I'm doing right now is I found a cool little, I'm prepping for my Warhammer fantasy army is lizard men and dinosaurs and that sort of thing. Yeah. It's Age of Sigmar. And so, I needed a couple more lizard guys, and I actually found a cool free file online that was like a futuristic lizard in like basically Space Marine armor with like a laser rifle.
Very cool.
So I'm printing like 6 of those at the same time. So I think I'm gonna have my mind blown when I see that come out. The amount of time to print 6 of those is the same as 1.
Yeah.
But it would have taken me 1 at a time, times 6 on a normal 3D printer. And I'd have to be there to start and stop it each time.
Yeah, weird.
Yeah, so it's cool. I'm excited, I think, for the mass production.
Have you made any successful prints yet? Or
I made one big guy, and that was I spent the afternoon kind of doing that. He's a big old a winged demon with a big old axe. He's going to be in my 40K army. And so I just got to glue them together, but I can show him to you. It's pretty sweet.
I would love to see him.
Yeah, so I put all of his pieces, his wings and his axe and his body all on the same plate and then printed them all at once. I was like, oh, this is pretty nifty.
Yeah.
And then cleaned them all up at once and cured them all at once and let them dry and cut off the supports. And now he's ready to...
The sprues.
The sprue. he's ready to be glued together and used. And I'm like, that was pretty easy.
Very cool.
It's exciting. 3D printing is an awesome hobby,
Very cool.
and it's only getting better.
Yeah, I'm looking at. I think that's going to be one of my next big purchases is a 3D printer.
Yeah.
Not for minis.
Not for minis, for practical use.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
It's practical in one sense of the word.
Miniature something.
Full size something.
Oh, okay. All right. The one thing that's been weird with the resin printer is the fumes, the toxic fumes. I have the luxury right now of having an extra room in my house that I realized I can use. I haven't even opened that door since we moved in. It's kind of weird. I'm like, oh yeah, I have an extra room in here.
Yeah, because you have the office room.
Yeah, and my wife used to use an office, but now she just works out of the front room, like the den or whatever it's called. Yeah, so we have an extra room back there. We were just using for storage.
Very cool.
But it wasn't even that full because we don't have that much junk. So.
Yeah, it works, right?
Yeah, so I put all the toxic fumes in there.
Nice.
And I have my gas mask on the door, so I suit up when I go into the room.
You just leave the window cracked.
I do, yeah. I have the window cracked, and I actually turned a fan on as well because that wasn't enough just with the ceiling fan in the window. Fumes were coming out a little bit. My wife put a towel around the bottom. She was like, it's gross. I want to smell that. Yeah, that's fair.
Fair enough.
Got the fan out the window. It's a little ghetto, but it's cool.
Very cool. Very cool.
Yeah.
What else do we have on our agenda here?
We got about
20 minutes?
Yeah, 20 minutes, 15 minutes.
All right, we talked about skulls and bones. We talked about Reacher. We talked about resin printers. We talked about destroying all humanity.
That's right.
In multiple aspects of that.
Yeah, that's true.
Did we want to talk about the top one or the bottom one?
We can do the bottom one. End it off for the day.
Yeah, that sounds like a plan to me.
Yeah.
So this episode, as those who are watching it know, will be airing. Airing? Does that still
releasing?
Will be released on the Christmas Eve.
Eve, yes.
Right. And we figured that as it was a Christmas time, and we are a religious-minded group here, we figured we should probably do something that had to do with God and Jesus.
Yeah.
And figured we should probably read the Christmas story.
Not doing anything fancy or crazy about it.
Nope. Nope.
We're not. The unique spin we're putting on it is we're reading it. It's us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So cool. It goes from 1 through what verse? I can't find.
15-ish.
I think 20 is kind of the
16. Oh yeah, maybe 20. 21. They name them. Let's just read the whole Bible.
Might as well.
Yeah.
Might as well just start with Genesis, right?
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'll do the first 10. You want to do the second 11?
Sure.
All
Sounds
right.
good. Luke 2, everybody, for those following along. We're just reading.
We're just going to read it.
Yeah.
You can listen to our wonderful narration voices.
Right. Audiobook.
Should we do it in British accents?
We'll save that for the blooper reel.
And it came to pass in those days.
Oh, jeez. This is serious. We're actually not joking.
No. We're literally just... Yeah, anyway.
Yeah. We like the Bible.
We do. And it came to pass in those days that there went out a decree from Caesar Augustus that all the world should be taxed. And this taxing was first made when Cyrenius was governor of Syria. And all went to be taxed, every one into his own city. And Joseph also went up from Galilee, out of the city of Nazareth, into Judea, unto the city of David, which is called Bethlehem, because he was the house and lineage of David, to be taxed with Mary, his espoused wife, being great with child. And so it was that while they were there, the days were accomplished that she should be delivered. And she brought forth her firstborn son, and wrapped him in swaddling clothes, and laid him in a manger, because there was no room for them in the inn. And there were in the same country shepherds abiding in the field, keeping watch over their flock by night. And lo, the angel of the Lord came upon them, and the glory of the Lord shone round about them, and they were sore afraid. And the angel said unto them, Fear not, for behold, I bring you good tidings of great joy, which shall be to all people.
For unto you is born this day in the city of David a Savior, which is Christ the Lord. And this shall be a sign unto you. You shall find the babe wrapped in swaddling clothes, lying in a manger. And suddenly there was with the angel a multitude of the heavenly host, praising God and saying, Glory to God in the highest, and on earth peace, goodwill toward men. It came to pass as the angels were gone away from them into heaven, the shepherds said one to another, Let us now go even unto Bethlehem, and see this thing which is come to pass, which the Lord hath made known unto us. And they came with haste, and found Mary and Joseph and the baby lying in a manger. And when they had seen it, they made known abroad the saying which was told them concerning this child. And all they that heard it wondered at those things which were told them by the shepherds. But Mary kept all these things, and pondered them in her heart. And the shepherds returned, glorifying and praising God for all the things that they had heard and seen, as it was told unto them. And when 8 days were accomplished for the circumcising of the child, his name was called Jesus, which was so named of the angel before he was conceived in the womb.
We hope you all have a very Merry Christmas, and don't forget that the reason we have Christmas is because of the birth of Jesus Christ. And with that, I think
we'll close, yeah.
We'll close this episode of the 5G podcast.
Special Christmas episode.
Special Christmas episode. We didn't really talk about Christmas that much, but we got the story out there. So
yeah,
there she is.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Thanks for watching this week's episode of the 5G podcast. We hope you enjoyed.
As always, feel free to like, comment, and subscribe if you enjoyed this content.
We're available on all social medias, as well as you can watch or listen to us on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts.
Again, thanks for watching, and we hope to see you next week.
Thanks.